Do you think that a Christian can participate in Halloween and not compromise their faith? Because a lot of Christians are like, oh, it's just one day. Like, it's really nothing. I'm just having fun. Like, I'm not dressing up as an evil person. I'm dressing up as, like, I don't know, a doctor, like you said.
Okay, compromise your faith. Like, do you mean like they're going to a party or something and dressing up and they end up doing something that causes them to sin?
Essentially, that's what means by compromise your faith. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Juxtaposition.
Yes.
For the old ones, we see you. For the new ones, welcome.
Do we see them?
Yes, we see you. We see you listening. We see you engaging. We see you.
Oh, yes.
I thought you
commenting.
meant at the other end.
Yes.
No, we don't physically see you, but if you want to share a picture of you yourself, sure, no problem. But yeah, we're here.
My name is Nana.
Okay, let's get right into
My name
it.
is
Sure.
Janet.
And my name is Bernice.
We just
Just get into it.
It's Boomy and Tala.
Guys, daylight savings. It is dark outside. How are you
5
feeling
p.m.
about it?
Kind of sad.
Would you stop daylight savings? Like some scientists are like, yeah, we should end daylight savings.
How do you end daylight savings?
Like you don't switch back or forth. You just leave it. So instead of falling back, you just keep it as the time that it is.
This is my thing. Who dictates these times going back and front?
Scientists.
It's
just
time.
kind of
Also
like
the time. Like in
how
terms
dark
of
it gets.
the sun, it gets dark pretty fast. And so like as to save more time throughout the day, I don't know how they determine the hour. I don't know how they determine the hour back. But it has to do with science. It has to do with science.
Exactly.
I don't like it. Literally at lunch, I have to force myself to go outside so I can see the sunlight, because if I don't go out, I'm going to come out to darkness. That's sad.
So sad.
So sad.
Guys, it's important even in the winter to
But
go
I like
outside
it.
anyways.
I like it because I get extra. I just sleep. And I feel more energetic because I feel like I'm sleeping a lot more. So I can, even if it's dark, I feel like I'm doing a lot when it's dark. I feel like early bird gets the worm type of vibe. So when it's dark, I feel like
If you wake up early,
I'm conquering the day. I've conquered the day. I'm ahead of the game.
Who said you're getting more sleep though?
There's longer. I mean, it's darker. It's longer nights, shorter days.
Man.
Yeah, so let's talk about our blessing and blunder, because that's our segment we do for those who are new here. I'm going to start with the blessing. The blessing is I am happy that daylight saving ended and I get extra sleep.
Dang.
So that's my blessing. My blunder. What is my blunder? I don't think I have one. I have said that twice. Let me think. Give me like 2 seconds.
Frig, man?
Give me like 2 seconds. My blunder. It's not let me say this. My mom has been complaining a little bit too much lately.
Oh my God.
And it's been challenging me because I'm like, one thing I've learned is just like complaining is not good. It's really not. To complain about everything and like certain things and just life in general is not healthy.
That's what you tell me.
So
In my family.
it's important to be thankful, be grateful.
Yeah.
And see the best out of the situation, even though it doesn't look the greatest. But yeah, that was the blunder. It's just like challenging my patience. So sometimes you just want to be like, okay, well, come on, like complaining too much right now. But yeah, that was my blunder. But the Lord told me to shh.
Shush. Be obedient. Don't say that. Don't do that. Be quiet. Go now.
So that's mine.
We have to be discerning. My blessing this week is we went to Naminche. If I said it right.
I don't think so.
Minimo.
Naminche.
Kenyans,
I don't know.
please correct
I'm
us
sorry.
because I think
Bro,
we're
Bear Gadgets is butchering the name too.
There's a new restaurant, Ghanaian restaurant.
I'm pretty sure we're on the right track though.
I'm sure too. Yeah.
For sure we're on the right track.
You're saying it differently. She's saying it differently. You saying Naminche. She's saying Naminche.
Yum. Anyways, it's a new restaurant, a Ghanaian restaurant. Nana and kind of, I don't know, you told us that we should go?
No.
Bernice, actually.
What are you talking about? I've been knowing
guys,
you
the most
all the time.
pickiest one out of this group decided we wanted to go and try Ghanaian food.
Yeah, the Ghanaian hater.
That was quite surprising.
Thanks to my
me.
friend, my coworker,
Ghanaian
Caleb.
coworker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, don't you go there?
No, he didn't tell me. He was telling me that he wanted to take his family there. So I was like, oh, this looks really good. So I was like, yeah I'm gonna take
the food was bomb. It was really good. Jollof rice wars. You know what? It's good, but as I said before, tastes like Chinese rice. Jollof rice
tastes like Chinese rice. It resembles
not
Chinese.
taste like, but yeah, the texture,
Chinese
the kind of
rice.
like the stickiness.
Please.
And don't get me wrong, I like it, so it's
Yeah.
not like a bad thing.
Why do Chinese always get offended?
Right?
Nah, you guys are just.
We're not hating. We're not hating on
We're
you.
just
do
just like
everything
everyone tries to
extra.
compare what their food is to somebody else's food. I think
Hey,
that's
yo.
what it is.
Hey yo.
Anyways, that was my blessing because I had some good fish and some good rice. It was good. Blunder today. Oh my gosh, the commuter life is not easy. It's not for the weak. Once I said again, it's not for the weak. The train went out of power and there was just multitudes of people. The multitudes of people were
You said
just
multitudes?
multitudes.
Oh, I heard multitudes.
This was
She never said multitudes.
I did. But multitudes of people were just gathering, and it just when the train is full and you're pressed against the train, it's crazy.
Sorry.
Just trying to ruin our sound here.
Sorry.
But yeah, it was just packed, and it's crazy. So
My blessing in Blunder. My blessing is there's so many blessings in the world. There's just so many in my life.
He doesn't have one.
No, honestly, it's just so many blessings. Like,
No, just say one.
just one.
Just one.
No, honestly, my blessing was naminchi as well. I ordered jollof rice, baked chicken, coleslaw on the side. Then
Wait,
I also
closing your
order
eyes.
cocoa and
He's
beans.
envisioning the food.
That I ate a little bit at the restaurant, but I also took it home the next day. Oh, wow, amazing! I love food.
Yes.
Cocoa and beans is one of my favorite. Like, my mouth is salivating right now as we speak. So good. So I'm gonna go there again, maybe once a month. Spend your money where you want to spend your money. My blunder is similar to Bernice a little bit. My mom is just, I feel like no, for real. I feel like she's in the stage of like rebellion. Like,
This guy said rebellion.
yeah, like she doesn't want, like, if something's wrong, she doesn't want to address it. And she's just staying in it. And you have to force it out of her. Like, what's going on, mommy? So if you listen, please, let's talk, We're talking, but, And also, one of my blunders is, as I was editing this podcast, because, I'm an editor as well. As I was editing this podcast, I noticed I said like so many times, TJP listeners. I say like, I was saying like, Nana, bro.
It's okay. Sometimes we have to examine ourselves.
That's it.
No,
I mean-
there's so many amount of likes
No.
you can say.
No, I know, but when
speaking it
it's
takes
really
time
hard.
and practice and a lot of listening to yourself over and
Yeah.
over again. So don't worry, it's practice.
Yeah, I hated listening to myself, but now that I do, I'm like, okay, now I can pick and choose and see areas where I can grow. So it's a good thing, Change is uncomfortable, growth is uncomfortable, but yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Wale.
All right, let's get into our topic. This one we're kind of 2 weeks behind, but it's okay. So as you know, Halloween passed. We're in a Christmas season now, but we're going to talk about Halloween. And it's been, Halloween is a funny kind
always
of
a weird
season.
Eerie.
So
Yeah.
the question is, do you guys, well, actually, no. Tell me a Halloween story. So do you celebrate Halloween? Obviously, you don't celebrate Halloween, but when you were younger, now we don't celebrate Halloween, but when you're younger,
Or do you?
I mean, I don't know. But when you're younger, did you celebrate Halloween before you came in to know Christ and really take him seriously? Or was your family like, absolutely not?
Okay, so I can go first. My family was absolutely not. But going to a Catholic Catholic school, they kind of said Halloween was good. Like, it was okay to do. Like, I don't know if you guys had that experience, but Halloween is good. Like, I don't want to quote what they said, but I forgot. But they were saying Halloween is good. So, Halloween will go, I think I was in grade 3 or grade 4. everybody obviously was wearing costumes, and I wanted to be a part of it.
No, they were wearing wild costumes.
Yeah, like what was very popular back then was a scream mask, and then they had the pump, and
the blood,
the
right?
blood will flow, and I was like, oh my god, I
gosh.
want that mask so much. Yo, I would have did a lot for that mask. I'm not even gonna lie. What?
The other one was
so crazy.
Chucky.
The one with the saw. They had like a.
That was Scream, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
There's the one.
Scream.
Is it Chucky or was it Freddy or was it
Jason?
No, not Jason was one of them, but the one that looked like a doll.
Yeah.
But he was like had.
Oh,
like,
isn't that
eyes.
from Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, what's his name?
I forgot.
I think
but
it's-
it's one of Freddy or Jason.
Something. Yeah,
Scary,
people used to
yo.
wear masks like that.
But they banned masks at school, like
Oh yeah.
after that a couple years ago. But yeah, like that was me. And then one year I'm like, yo, I want to wear a Halloween costume. So I got a bed sheet, and I cut the bed sheet, the eyes, and I became a ghost. Nowhere to lie. That's fact. All fact. I remember today. So I wear it like, I just put it. She's like, oh, Eric, what are you? I was like, oh, I'm a ghost. Because I wanted to be a part of the world. I wanted to be a part of... I wanted to be a part of the culture in school. Because, yo, Janice cried real tears. Yo, honestly, I wanted to be a part of the thing. So I was like, damn. You know? So, yeah, that's where I was. And I can tell you where I'm at right now, but that's where I was. I'll just keep it there. I was trying to be Casper, but unfortunately,
Okay, recording you. Not even a scary ghost.
I'm a ghost. Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. These guys are snotting in their nose. They have tears crawling.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
When I laugh.
Oh my gosh,
good
I
laugh.
don't recall hearing that story before.
I don't think I ever told that story before. Yeah.
You actually were
I remember
dedicated.
it was a light blue bed sheet. It wasn't white. Oh shoot, it wasn't white. Yeah, it was light blue. That's how you knew I was really trying to push the envelope. I was
my arm
really trying to push the
I would be a
envelope.
It's close enough.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, Nana. Okay.
But yeah, I couldn't go out to trick or treat, all of that stuff. They were super like
So you
strict
didn't,
on
you didn't
that.
go trick or treating?
No, the closest thing was
Wow,
trick or
you look
treating
a
was the closest thing was fall carnival at church. Shout out church.
Oh my
They
gosh.
really like helped a lot with that. But
Okay.
yeah,
Ours is like very.
That was the same.
Literally,
we were
we
gonna
were
be
not-
a ghost. I remember being a ghost.
Oh, I don't think I was a
I
ghost.
put on a sheet.
I
I for
definitely-
sure.
I
I don't know
remember-
what grade. I don't know what grade I was, but I definitely that was the start of the easiest costume.
Definitely.
Oh my
I think for me it was more so like I just didn't. I want to fit in. Like
I know.
being, especially going to a Catholic school, it just felt like that was like a. It was necessary for you to dress up. Like if you didn't dress up, it was like you're out of place.
Yeah.
This is not like what's wrong. What
Yeah.
happened? So I know for me, it was like dressing up as a nurse. So I wanted to make sure I like nothing scary. I didn't want anything to be scary, but I wanted to dress up as a nurse or like. Your friends would be like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll draw something on your face or something like that." And put like those markings that make you look like a scarecrow or like I don't know, somebody that died or a ghost or some evil looking person. So yeah, you never celebrate. Actually, there's only one time.
Yeah, do you remember?
One time we went trick or treating. That was the first and the last time. And I don't know how. Even till this day, I'm like, how did we even possibly got the ability to say? My parents say like, "Yeah, go. You can go with them and you can trick or treat." I said, What year was that? That was not in high school though.
That was in elementary.
Elementary.
I think it was like grade 7
Or 8 or something like that, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was just one time. I don't know what my mom was thinking. She just
Just
like,
go.
So what?
That bag of candy, I remember just like
It was
snorting.
full.
It was full. Like I've never, and that's the experience. That's the only experience I've ever had to be like, whoa, this is what these kids were doing back
Yeah.
then. Like having this much, and I think. For our dressing up, there was another one where, like, at least from what I remember, I was dressed as a cheerleader because we had like this outfit, and cheerleader was easy. You could just do the shirt and the skirt, and you're good, and that's it. So I remember doing that.
Yeah, I remember high school too. Is just like dressing up because I'm part of like student council. It's like you would have to be, you don't want to not
Dressed up?
I definitely did. I don't know what I dressed up as, but I did.
Yeah.
I did something.
And it's so funny how it's so hardcore that people, even when you kind of said no, or you're kind of like, like I remember trying to like getting more into my faith in high school, and people were like, no, I'll bring you a hat, or I'll bring you a costume or something. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
it's easy to just kind of follow the line or just follow suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, as you know, we're going to be talking about that and talking about how if Christians should celebrate Halloween, if they should be taking a part of it, and should we be dressing up, or is it better left alone?
But I also want to add one of the times that I had bunches of candies when I like went to my cousin's house in Bolton, and like they did trick or treating. So I was like, oh my god, they'll have bags of candy,
Bear candy.
But these people every year, I'm not even lying. In my 20s, every year on CP24, I see a report where someone put a thumbtack in a candy and they'll show the picture. I'm like, bro.
I didn't even see that.
Actually, I didn't see it happened this year.
It happened in a coffee crisp. We'll probably talk about this later, but this is why I don't trust
every
none of
year
that, bruh. It's over for that trick or treating stuff. What? You're playing gambling. We're gambling with our lives? No.
It's true. I don't know. Just like, and maybe we'll get into it, but like just a snippet of like, you're going to people's houses that you don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't know what kind of spirits they have or whatever, their vibe. And they're like giving you candy. Like, how do you know where they got the candy? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about
It's a mess.
the origins of Halloween. And actually me looking into it, I was like, what? I did not know this. Because like, Nana, you were saying how, what did you
Catholics?
say? The Catholics, the
Catholics they spun it as like, they had like a saint and it started with that and stuff like that.
I'm gonna give you some.
They really pushed that on us, and I'm like, okay, this is.
It's a good holiday.
Let me give you some facts. So the tradition originated with the ancient Celtic festival of, I'm thinking it's called Samhain. When people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. In the 8th century, this is where the Catholics come in. Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor All Saints. So soon, All Saints Day incorporated some of the traditions of the Samians. So Celts believed that on the night before the New Year, which is November 1st, they would celebrate their New Year November 1st, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. So on the night of October 31st, they celebrated Samhain, when it was believed that the ghosts of the dead returned to the earth. I have so much more, guys. No, like it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, let me tell you something else. Hold on, where did it go? Okay, so here it is. I talked about, you know how you have the jack-o'-lantern or whatever it is? Okay, so they would do that because they said that in the tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns originated in Ireland using turnip instead of pumpkins. It allegedly based on a legend about a man named Stingy Jack, who repeatedly trapped the devil and only let him go on the condition that Jack would never go to hell. But when Jack died, he learned that heaven did not want his soul either, so he was forced to wander the earth as a ghost for eternity. The devil gave Jack a burning lump of coal and a carved-out turnip to light his way. Locals eventually began carving scary faces into their own turnips to frighten away evil spirits. Can you imagine?
Wow.
And so what they did is that the festival of the Samian, so they would mark their new year, and basically they're saying like the living and the dead were all in one on that day, and they would, I don't know, interact, I guess, or try to protect themselves. And so Celtic people believe that during the festival, spirits walk the earth. Later on, Christian missionaries introduced All Souls Day on November 2nd, which perpetuated the idea of the living coming into contact with the dead around the same time of the year. So
That's crazy.
So they wear costumes to avoid being terrorized by the evil spirits walking on the earth.
Can mesh.
So they don't know, they can't identify them, and so they won't be, So they disguise in order to confuse the spirits and be left alone.
And you see how these movies, when we're younger, kind of do storylines like that where they're monsters but they're humans, but we don't know, and stuff like that. It really, like, some of these people in these boardrooms that are writing is like, maybe they're taking some ideas from ancient history times. You just never know.
No,
there's always a deeper meaning to stuff.
There's so
not
much deeper.
Kiddish show or kiddish idea to bring to the world. There's always we have one idea. Okay, let's make it into something super big that can cause like entertainment for the world.
It's just all about entertainment and how we can, make it a holiday.
Now it's more so like, oh, let's have fun. But back then they were scared of evil spirits, guys. This is not like oh yeah, let's have fun. They were genuinely scared of evil. So they did these things and they were interacting with the dead. They believed that the dead were coming, like they were on earth, and the living was coming to life, and then people are gonna, like, the spirits were attacking them, so they were scared. Yet we're celebrating us like this. That's why some pastors are like really against it, like super against it, and it makes sense because the dead is dead.
They ain't coming back.
If you're messing with evil spirits, that's dangerous. And that's why I wonder, like, okay, this is going extreme, but like where mental health comes in and all these other things come in, and like what takes place on those nights and what happens after the nights that follow. When kids go out and they're trick-or-treating and they're dressing up and they're doing all these things, like, aren't you evoking these evil spirits to come in and giving them an open door to come in and do as they please and influence you the way that they want to?
I think it's so deep they're not even thinking about that stuff.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's how deception works. It's like you don't think, even, I'm just thinking like Christians who just don't think it's a problem. It's like, oh, are you serious?
That's spooky. It's spooky. I see it all the time.
No, like they're advocating like there's nothing wrong with dressing up. There's nothing wrong with going out trick or treating.
For me, it's like, okay, but why does it have to be on that specific day? Because you can dress up any other day as whatever character you want to dress up as, but it doesn't have to be on that particular day. So why are we fighting? Oh, we have to dress up on this day, like,
People want to be a part of the culture, want to be a part of the world. It's tricky because it's like, if a kid came to me, it's like, hey, I want to dress up for Halloween, and they're going back and forth. Okay, we can, like, you can dress up as like a doctor or something like that if you want.
But don't you think? Sorry for interrupting, but don't you think like participating in that event is still participating in the
celebration of Halloween?
Yes.
I do agree. I do. I'm not even gonna lie, because sometimes we like to spin it as like it's not, but
they're
it
not
is
dressing as evil,
but
not,
you're still like, you are participating. It's like being in a car of a crime. The person does a crime, but you're sitting there. It's like, no, I didn't do anything. But you're still in there. You're still gonna get charged. Because at the end of the day, if someone did a statistic of like, oh my gosh, I'm having this Halloween party, and how many people came there dressed, you still being dressed as something, you're still a part of the function, right? So it's like a lot of times people are like to live out their dreams because they're living out their childhood, to be honest. Like they're living out the rebellion of their parents, like saying they can't do this. So now they get older and it's like, no. Like especially this one person, Jehovah's Witness, and they were like super against it. And now they're older and they're like, nah, I'm living out my dreams as going to Halloween, and now they're teaching their kids and stuff like that. And it's like, it's not kind of like hurt people, like projecting on people that I don't know, and then it's like this new generation of like, so it hurts. It used to hurt me as a kid. You telling me we can't go to the store and get dressed?
Which is like,
I can't go get candy. But now in my 20s, I'm like, oh.
But how did you get to that point of that's the thing, as Christian parents, are they teaching their kids about the history of Halloween and why we don't celebrate it, or do even Christians even really understand the context and what goes on within Halloween?
Both.
No, they just say no.
Both.
No, don't dress up.
Yeah.
And they just know it's bad. But it's like, kids these days, at least in the generation that is coming up, need explanation. I feel like we should always have explanation to why things are wrong, so that when we are explaining it to other people, we're not like, oh, they just said no, right? We can give knowledge to people who don't know and enlighten them on the topic.
Yeah. So do you think that a Christian can participate in Halloween and not compromise their faith? Because a lot of Christians are like, oh, it's just one day. Like, it's really nothing. I'm just having fun. Like, I'm not dressing up as an evil person. I'm dressing up as, like, I don't know. A doctor, like you said.
Okay, compromise your faith. Like, do you mean like they're going to a party or something and dressing up and they end up doing something that causes them to sin?
Essentially, that's what means by compromise your faith. Mm-hmm. So can a Christian participate in Halloween without compromising their faith? Do you think that's a possibility?
You can compromise on your beliefs, because I feel like someone can go to a party, dress up, and just stand on the wall and not do anything. You can compromise your beliefs.
Yeah, that's still compromising.
Yes, but I do think you're right. I do think you can compromise your faith by participating. And the reason I say it so slow, because I'm even causing pushback in my brain, because every Halloween I get the feeling like, oh my God, I remember myself as a kid watching these movies on Disney, how it made me feel. You're telling me I'm not going to let my kid watch this? That's
what I'm saying.
History.
That's where it gets difficult.
So exactly, that's where it gets difficult. It's like, someone can be like, okay, Nana, so you're just talking about in terms of party. So if you're talking about in terms of party, you got to now pull out the movies, the thriller. Come on, guys. This is like going so deep.
Yeah, I know. I think it's the nostalgia and the culture behind it that people really miss, and that they want to kind of pass on to their kids. It's not even so much that they understand the background. They're like, it's not compromising my values. It's just something that I grew up as a kid, doing. It's like, why can't I pass that on to my own kid?
It's like some people saying, me listening to R&B music doesn't affect my faith. Some people can be like, me watching Halloween Town 1, 2, and 3, and 4 does not compromise my faith. So it's tricky. For me, this is for me, Nana's life. I believe for my life, I can watch the movies, yo. The movies,
no, that's
all
fair.
of that. I can watch those movies. But I can't do, we're going to a party and we're doing Halloween. So, we're not doing trick or treat. I can't do that. But when it comes to nostalgia stuff, I can't take that.
I mean, the word does say that. I think Paul says it like, if it doesn't affect you, if it affects you, obviously don't do it. Like it depends on who the person is. But I'm like, as a parent, where do you start as a Christian parent?
In terms of Halloween, right?
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
you're fighting all them little kids. It's like 20-1 when your kids going to school and all them kids are dressed up.
Like where do you start, right? And I listen, I don't have no kids, so I can't be speaking like I'm a parent. But just by like having cousins and things like that, I can understand the difficulties, because they're going to school. They're in school a lot, and they're influenced by their friends and their peers and their teachers and the system. But I'm like, as a Christian parent, like, it's important to start when they're young, so that they're not
shocked when they go to school
exactly.
at 4, and you're like, we don't dress up, and your kid comes home and it's like, oh, it's Halloween.
Yeah,
what am I gonna dress up as? My
right.
told
You
me
explain to them already as they're younger. It's like, hey, these are our beliefs. This is why we don't celebrate Halloween. This is why we do this instead of that, and like giving them scriptures that actually show them like, hey, these are reasons why we don't celebrate, because we don't celebrate dead people. We are not dead people.
We're alive.
Right? The living and the dead don't go together. They're not supposed to be together. If you're dead, you're dead. Like this, you're not supposed to. And if you're speaking to a dead person, then that's a spirit, an evil one. So, and that's something to be worried about, right? And I just think, I was just looking at some scriptures of like, what does God tell us? Like, what does He want from us? And it's like, He wants us to be holy. He wants us to be set apart because He's holy. And so if you're going towards unclean things, you can't be in the presence of the Father. Like, when are you able to ever come into the presence of, and many people don't go, they're not going to go and like clean themselves up first. They're just like, listen, I'm probably guilty of this myself. Is like, you don't go and repent. You don't think about all the things that you've done that have made you unclean. And you recognize like, oh shoot, like I was in the midst of this, and this is not something that's pleasing to the Father. So when you go in praying, you're thinking like, oh yeah, the Lord's hearing my prayer. Yeah, He's hearing it, but He's not pleased, right? He's not receiving it because you're not clean, right? He says, be holy for I am holy. And that means to be set apart.
And it's true, setting us apart. It's like we don't do what others do,
Right.
and we don't compromise on what
Yes.
our values are. It's like, and I also thinking, I don't know, this is kind of like a sidebar. It's like, why does it have to be done at night? Like, you know, where it's dark, it's covered, no one can see very well.
Right.
Like things can be slipped in easily. But I don't know, compared to like Christmas, I know that people are like, this is not Jesus' birthday. It's just in and around the time that's just festive. But like those things are done in the light, like it's daily, like it brings brightness to things. It's like,
Hollywood's
let's
very
see.
dark.
It's very dark, dingy, like you can't see anything. It's just very odd.
And we're just passing by. I think that's one thing we're forgetting as Christians. We are passing by on this earth. Like we're not supposed to, this is not our place. So it's like we don't have to be a part of this world. We don't have to be a part of everything. Like we don't have to be mixy. I think
We're
missing out on something by not being able to enjoy the festivities of the world and stuff like that. Like no, buddy, bucko. Like and especially what you said about the dark. Like I just remember like wanting to go out in Halloween and it's nighttime and then you're at the door, like people can be at the door and you have a mask on and you don't fully see like certain people and it's like just growing up in the hood is like I'm not going outside in the nighttime. I'm not going outside in the nighttime. Hell nah, bro. You better miss me with that. Like bad things happen in the night.
Yeah, and like I'm just thinking
it's the devil's day.
It's the time of night
Real
that
talk,
the devil,
bro.
It
I feel
is.
like it comes
It
out.
is.
This is devil's day.
It is. And I think a lot of times because we don't realize that it's not just the surface level, it's also a spiritual thing too. Like you can only imagine what's happening spiritually in the realm that we cannot see. And when the more you mature in your faith, you begin to recognize like, yeah, the enemy is working.
He's lurking.
And he's lurking. And he uses people in different ways to kind of deceive
Sorry, guys.
you.
Hey. Hershey's like,
Devil! Get out.
Ephesians
Yeah.
6:11-12 says, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm. Stand against the devil's schemes. Hollywood too, but Halloween. Halloween, the schemes of let's go out, let's do this, let's do that. Bare things. And there's so many things that we're not even exposed to because we haven't gone to those parties. So you can only imagine if you asked one of your friends, one of your coworkers, what has happened at these parties, these Halloween parties and stuff like that.
It's true.
They will give you a whole different world that we're not open to. We just hear stories, certain things, right? So nothing good comes from Halloween.
I just wanted to go back to the point that you said about like wanting to fit in and wanting to mix in and things
Be
like that.
mixy.
And like I just feel like as Christians I don't know why we have this feeling of we're missing out on something. Like we're missing out on something good if we're not a part of it. And it's like we have the greatest gift ever. We are the ones who are the star child. We're part of the kingdom. We're part of something eternal. And we're like, no. I'm going to leave that. And I'd rather have this thing that is temporary, that's not going to fulfill me, that's drifting me away from the relationship with God. And I just find it like very interesting because I think about that too, that I do that too, where I'm like, well, God, I want this now. Or like you think of situations where oh my gosh, my train of thought I just lost my train of thought.
Okay.
It will come back to me.
It happens.
But it's about like just the idea that we want to fit in and we want to we feel like we're missing out on something, and it just reminds me of we are the light of the world, and just how we went to church this Sunday and how he was mentioning like, I am the light of the world, I am the salt of the earth. And it's like, yeah, that's what Jesus calls us, and we don't want to be that. We want to be nothing. We want to be a part of the world, but he's calling us out of the world. And then we, as Christians,
we want to be the scum.
We want to be at the bottom of the. We want to be at the bottom, and then we And then I don't know. I'm just thinking about myself and what we do. It's just like we don't tap into the fullness of what Christ has called us to be. And we're complaining and we rant to God and we complain to God, like, God, why is this happening for me? Why am I not seeing these things in my life? Like all of these things. But it's like you want to be just a part of this world. Like I'm calling you out, but you want to stay in. Right. And it's like I'm calling you out to do great and mighty things, but yet you want to hold your hand and keep it in the world and be a part of this thing by following certain traditions, by doing certain things. It's like, why are we afraid as Christians to be like, yeah, no, I don't celebrate Halloween because it's a spirit. It's just celebrating evil spirits. It's just celebrating the dead. It's celebrating all of those things. It's like, why are we afraid to say no? Like, why are we afraid to be like, I don't dress up. I don't celebrate that stuff.
It's true. I don't know.
People are just afraid of confrontation. It's the same. Why are you afraid to speak about God? Why are you afraid to say where you went on Sunday?
So that's
like,
why
it's just afraid of tough conversation. You're afraid of not being accepted.
Exactly. And how
just
you're going to be
being loved or
perceived.
liked by someone. It literally, it's not just your stance on Halloween. It's just stance on so many things that are not a part of this world. Literally, think about it.
Yeah,
like
it can be drinking. It can be
anything.
Gender. It can be
anything.
Just a bunch of things.
And that's why I'm like, so then that's why I feel people make mockery of us.
Because we don't stand on business, bruh.
We can't stand on business. We're always shaken by just a simple agitation of somebody saying, "Oh, really? Why not? Oh, you don't celebrate Halloween? What happened? Why?" Yeah. And we're like, "Oh, I mean,"
I think it's also too that they don't have the facts behind it to explain why.
We don't read our word. We don't
do our research.
I'm telling you, it's the truth.
We don't read our word.
We don't know it.
We're like, oh, but I just don't celebrate.
That's
why?
it. Why?
I just don't.
I just don't.
I just don't
celebrate. I just think it's because you're celebrating. Just
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. That's it. I'm just a Christian.
What does that mean?
Like, what does that mean?
Because by you not knowing, you're very easily swayed into their train of thinking.
Exactly.
So that's why you need to step aside with the knowledge of what God has said that we should do. Because if you don't, you're screwing yourself up. You're playing yourself, bro. And I'm speaking for myself as well.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Literally, I'm speaking for myself. Especially, it's like, why are you a Christian? Why do you believe in Jesus?
That's the number one question that people will ask you, and many of us, including myself, struggle to explain, why do I believe in this man? What is it about him?
I feel like, what we need to do as Christians are encouraged to do, at least for myself, and speak for myself, that you need to have that sentence or two that you've, not like it's a repetitive thing, but it's a thing that you go to that is true, that when you speak to someone, you have that already in your brain because you believe it. It's like, for me, it's like, I know I believed and I follow Jesus because of what happened, my testimony, how he has changed my life, how he has done so many things for me. But it's like, sometimes we need to have that sentence that we just go by.
That slogan.
Thank you. That slogan, just, running in our minds. It's kind of like a verse. You just know when someone asks you, this is what you're going to say. Because sometimes you kind of you get choked up because you just, you don't know the words or whatever. And I'm
going to add on to what you're saying. Sometimes it's good for repetition. Sometimes you need to say the same thing.
That's what I was going to say.
All this single time to get through someone. And this one thing I could take with politics. People are like, why is this person saying the same policy? No, not everyone has heard it.
It's true.
You need to say the same thing. What you tell your kid, don't touch this. You have to tell them you have to say it again. Why you don't touch it? You have to say it again and say it again. So that's when it comes with our faith as well. Same thing you tell your coworker, you tell your I don't know, your next door neighbor or something like that.
I think we get bored too fast.
We want new. We want this new,
and also too when it comes to reading, we're so I feel like even me, I'm like, why am I reading the same verse over and over again? Let's go something else. No, this one is not really, you don't want to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. A lot of times pastors would do this and they repeat the same thing over and over. They might even repeat the same sermon. You're like, Pastor, you did this one last year. I even know everything. The points all down to a T. But it's because we forget. And every season it's going to be a different different aspect, different angle that you're going to get something else from that same passage, that same scripture. Because imagine, many pastors are using the same scripture over and over again, but there's different points of view, different angles that they're coming from. It's like, that's the same thing. Read the word.
And I
Keep
think
reading.
Even the same thing as like them telling their testimonies over again.
Yes.
It's like, okay, so it's like, but what if that one new person comes in? It's like, so he's not going
Right?
to tell his testimony again just because you've heard it and you've already been in the church. It's like, no,
Exactly.
somebody else needs to hear it. The person
Exactly.
who walked in the door this morning is dealing with that same
Yeah.
thing. And if he didn't tell his story, then they're going to miss
Yeah.
that, blessing
Yeah.
that they could have walked out the door
Yeah.
with. So
Yeah.
tell your story a million times and,
Right?
a million and one times.
Yeah.
And maybe it might take on a different perspective for you when you listen to it again. And maybe it really just kind of, digs into your spirit if you're really struggling with it at that point in time. It's really going to help you.
Yeah.
That's how I feel with you guys. I be like, we be having conversation, and I feel like I say the same things to you guys, and then when I say it with someone else, I'm like, I'm so well versed on this because I talk about this with my friends. Like,
The more practice you get, the better you get at it. The more the more real it becomes, and the more believable people can actually believe what you're saying. But when you only say it one time, and then you're just like, you telling somebody else, you don't even know how to. You're switching
A couple of the lines have changed.
like, just repeat the same thing. It's the same story. It's the same testimony, but it's powerful. Like, it's the same verse, but it's powerful, right? Like, you can only imagine how many times. Listen, I wish I'm the grace of God. I'm asking the Lord to help me to read the Bible as many times as I can within my lifetime, because there's so many things that I can learn within that time frame that can change my life and change people's lives too.
Yeah, and every season that you're in, that verse becomes new.
Exactly.
New to you because
It's fresh.
like a fresh eyes.
Yes.
On it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know how we got here, but just going back to Halloween and Christians not standing on anything. Let's stand on something. Halloween is not for us. It wasn't made for us. I know some people try to cover it by saying All Saints Day, and it's not covering
It's just fun, and
because at the end of the day, look at it. Like, they eventually started taking the traditions of those people, the Celts, and what they were doing, and started incorporating it into the All Saints Day. And it just goes back to think, like, it's like you may not be burnt, but if you're around the fire, you're gonna smell like smoke. So regardless of if you weren't necessarily at the fire pit, but you're still near it, you're still a part of the problem.
Hey, I just want to say this too. Do not be naive to these horror movies, because these horror movies and the writers, they actually study
Like demons,
the chants and the different exorcisms and all of that stuff. So it's like when you watch these movies,
they're spirits.
and sometimes you walk out of this movie like,
Something's, yeah.
bro, I remember
Like-
watching a movie and the kids ran out and started crying. But these movies are really demonic.
Yeah.
And we're talking about in the 2000s to 2010s. These movies are like not really movies anymore, like entertain, like
They're spiritually, like
spiritual. Like, what are you
Yeah.
trying to tell us?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so there's certain movies like, and now it's probably gotten worse. But the ones I can remember, it's like, yo, how did you even think about this? How did you even write this? What in your mind said, let me write this and let's make this character do this? Like, that's really scary. Like, you had to tap into something that's not of this world. Like, for real.
no, but seriously,
It's
like,
true.
I think
Acting that
somebody
part.
said
Yeah.
Scary.
Somebody, I think one actor said that, like, he, who was it?
You had problems after his role?
Yes.
Why
many.
wouldn't you have problems?
But
Foolish
it was
boy,
like he
foolish
had like
girl.
it was literally like a spirit that was upon him that like was really heavy upon him after he played this character. And it just goes to show that it's not, guys, repeat, it's not just for fun. It's not just
No, you're gonna
acting.
play- you're-
The enemy
a whole
has
year you're studying a role.
It's,
Right.
and you're
Think nothing's gonna
Playing it over
think
and
nothing's
over
gonna
again.
over
stick
So you
on
don't
you.
think that you're not
Hey.
opening the door for this spirit to now land into your spirit and then intertwine and think that you're going to be okay after. That's why a lot of actors who do these kind of vicious and evil kind of like movies, they have issues.
It sticks with them.
They have
does.
issues.
They need to take breaks, and that's just
Like, it's, and that's why I'm like, Christians, we don't Please.
Even if you're an actor, don't compromise on your values. Don't compromise just because it's a role or they're paying you a certain amount of money. I think it's Denzel who said he picks certain movies that he plays.
Because at the end of the day, we all are called children of God. So the Lord will take care of you. He will provide what you need. He will give you that gift that you need. He's a good father. So oftentimes I keep going back to this, but we don't believe. We don't.
Say if I miss out on this opportunity, I ain't getting it.
You're not getting it again. You just think, oh, like that's the end all be all. And we keep putting this like limitation on God of like, he's not going to do it for me. Or because I did this, I'm not going to get this opportunity or whatever the case is. But he's so much bigger. And I think that's something I'm just learning in this season. He's just so much bigger. You can't limit this God who created the whole universe and spoke. He just spoke. So I'm just saying, Christians, please, let's not do this Halloween. Don't be saying I celebrate. I mean, it's just a day. It's nothing bad.
You can do it on any other day.
Celebrate, and I think
do a costume party.
And I love how churches are trying to incorporate that fall carnival and giving opportunities for kids to come into a building where it's safe and still give them the chance to have fun and do all those things and
get candy.
And you can add elements of God in there. Like it doesn't have to be. I remember when we did what did we do? Easter? No, it was the Easter. How we did the Easter egg hunt, and we put the eggs, the scriptures. That's something to incorporate. Like even though it's still part of the culture, you're still incorporating. You have the scripture so that they remind themselves. Like when they're younger, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, when we did Easter egg hunt, we had little treats, but we also had the word in there too." Like that's something to help them, right? And I just think we don't have to do it the way that they do it. We don't have to do the trick or treating. You don't have to do the dressing up.
Trick or treat is played out, bro. You don't have to. Why you want that for your kids?
You don't have to do it. They just now it's not even like they don't think it like it's a spiritual thing.
Yeah, it's just a fun.
It's a fun thing.
It's just like a party or an event to go to, a holiday of some sort.
Yes,
but it's like it's deeper than that. And I saw on Instagram I think or something where the girl's a Christian and like. Instead of them she'll open their doors because most Christians turn off their lights. They're like, I don't want no children coming. But she put like packages of like Bible scripture and stuff, and she handed that out instead.
With some candy too?
She handed out candy, but like I think no, she handed out candy, but there was like scripture in it and like I guess like a coloring page for the kids. But like that's kind of like you know
that's the way to combat.
That's the way to combat. You know, like even though it's
I like that idea.
It's still being a light in the dark. Yes. So, if you guys can do that, if you guys don't shut your lights, open your door, tell them about Jesus. That's what she was doing. She was telling them about Jesus and stuff. So
that's important. I never heard of that one, but I think that's a cool idea to do it that way because I think also too shutting your lights doesn't necessarily help the situation. I just think you don't do that, but that's a good way. You're still being a light and sharing the gospel.
I'm gonna open my door.
That's good.
Jesus.
That's a good idea. So for those who say, okay, you know what? I kind of like that. I don't know if you like the idea, but that idea is a cool one. I like it. So I don't have anything else. Let me. Well, guys, even though Halloween is a sticky topic for many Christians, I would believe because they think it's.
Especially as kids, I feel like like babies when they're born, they dress
so
them in
innocent.
Like,
oh my gosh,
they don't know anything.
I'm a farmer.
Yeah, the cutesy thingies like it's so adorable.
It's all about the pictures. I feel like influencing the social media culture of who can get the best family costume is like a big thing.
Yes,
so.
See, culture just and the idea of wanting to be the best and the greatest and the most liked and it's all pride. It falls on pride, but
competition.
Yes. So, but let us know your thoughts on Halloween and if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if not, if you're part of the crew that's like, it's not that bad. It's nothing that serious. Let us know because I actually want to hear people's thoughts on this and if Christians can celebrate Halloween in a good conscience, or is it a night best left alone? Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
All right, let me give y'all some encouragement with our declaration. While I find the declaration, Nana's going to tell you what to do next. The next steps after you finish this episode is...
like, comment, subscribe.
Share.
Do you like? Don't you want to stop like hearing my voice? Say
No,
this?
never.
Never.
Because we're gonna keep doing this over and over again. I was gonna say,
Subscribe.
well, last year we were at 2 something. This year we're at 3 something. So the Lord is doing something. We're just moving at a slow pace.
Yeah,
but we can
slow and
expedite
steady.
that if you could just share with
Let
friends.
the Lord
Yes.
bring speed.
Like, comment, subscribe. Okay,
You sound so
guys.
aggressive.
Because
You
I
have to
gotta be
kind.
aggressive. I gotta be aggressive. That's just my nature,
Like,
guys.
comment, share,
Subscribe.
listen.
Oh, I like this one. Are we ready for our declaration today?
What's our declaration?
It says, I declare, wow, this sounds weird. I declare I will live victoriously. I was created in the image of God. I have the DNA of a winner. I am wearing a crown of favor. Royal blood flows through my veins. I am the head, never the tail, above, never beneath. I will live with purpose, passion, and praise, knowing that I was destined to live in victory. This is my declaration. I feel empowered. I have royal blood flowing through my veins.
Amen.
I feel
Did
like
you-
gold.
Right?
That's what I
I got
envision.
something more than gold. You got something more than gold. Da, 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 da. I was gonna say, shoot, I don't think I'm gonna say it right, but our blood is technically. No, let me not. I'm not even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna go there. It just has to do with like it. Just no. Let me just stop right there.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is all. I hope you enjoyed our episode, and we'll see
Yes.
you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Peace.